Now, if you can't face a Bloody Mary, you've got lots of other cocktails to choose from. Most cocktails were originally designed as a hair of the dog. They were never intended to be fashion accessories, to be sipped in cheaply converted wine bars while listening to Sade albums. All those exotic mixtures of cream and eggs and spirits and spices were simply a palatable way of getting essential vitamins and liquor into the system while wearing a dressing gown. And beer is also a very good hair of the dog. Beer is full of vitamins. I think that's the best news we've had so far, don't you? And flat beer is also reputed to be a particularly good hangover cure, for reasons which nobody really seems to understand. Although this does no doubt explain the popularity of those Watney's Party 7s during the 1970s. Just in case everybody watching isn't old enough to remember, Watney's Party 7s, they were these sort of big red 7-pint cans of beer that you used to take to a party, give to the person whose party it was, then ask for something else to drink instead. You don't see them anymore, do you? Presumably they've all gone to that great student party in the sky, along with all the bottles of Hirondelle wine. Remember that? A blended medium sweet red wine from Austria. Nice. The phrase hair of the dog was actually coined by the Elizabethan playwright and poet John Heywood, who wrote, "I pray thee, give me and my fellow a hair of the dog that bit us last night." He wrote this in 1546, after a heavy night out with Sir Walter Raleigh that started in 1542. Anyway, all you really need to know about the hair of the dog is that last night, when you wanted a drink, you shouldn't have had one, and this morning, when you don't want one, you've got to have one. Just another one of those little existential jokes that God likes to play on us every now and then. So, what are your options the night before if you want to avoid having a morning after? Well, basically, you've got 4 choices. Your first option is, don't drink any alcohol at all. I'm not prepared to give this option the oxygen of publicity. We'll move straight on to option 2, which is avoid all drinks with impurities in them. Well-known mineral waters, for example, and all dark-coloured alcoholic beverages. Because as a general rule, the darker the drink, the more impurities it contains, the more work there is for your liver to do, the worse the hangover the next day. That's why red wine will give you a worse hangover than white wine, dark rum than light rum, whiskey than vodka, and so on. In fact, experts say that if you're going to drink at all, then the drink that makes the least demands on your system is pure, neat, chilled vodka. Drunk in sensible quantities, obviously. And you can mix the vodka, but again, only if you're sensible. Mix with tomato juice or orange or grapefruit juice, very, very good. Mixed with snakebite and amphetamine sulfate. Now, I've made my own discovery about vodka. You know, people say that if you get drunk on Pernod, wake up the next day, drink water, you get drunk again straight away. I found the same is also true of vodka. Get drunk on Pernod, wake up, drink vodka, pissed as a fart. Now, while we're on the subject of what to drink and not to drink, don't take any notice of people who tell you that cheap drinks will give you worse hangovers than expensive drinks. This is a myth propagated by rich people. If you drink champagne all evening, it will give you a filthy hangover, especially if you drink a bottle of port on the bus on the way home. And as for brandy, well, brandy is a drink in a class of its own, isn't it? I mean, a brandy hangover will make your bones ache. Mind you, if you want a drink that does the job quickly, then brandy is the drink for you. Dr. Johnson knew all about brandy. He wrote, "No, sir, claret is the drink for boys, port for men. But he who aspires to be a hero," women didn't used to drink in these days, apparently, "he who aspires to be a hero must drink brandy. For brandy will do soonest for a man what drink can do for him." And he was right. I mean, if someone's been knocked down by a bus, you don't go running up and shout, "Quick, quick, get him a white wine and soda!" Your third option is to do what doctors say you should do and limit your intake of alcohol to a safe level. Doctors currently advise that the safe weekly consumption of alcohol is 21 units. Sounds all right, doesn't it? 21 units. a week. That is, until you find out what a unit of alcohol is. So, what is a unit of alcohol? A bath full of gin? No. A bucket full of Jim Beam? No. It's a half a pint of beer. So, 21 units a week, that's 3 halves a day. So that means, providing you don't go mad and have a half at lunchtime, that means you can go out in the evening, have a half at 6 o'clock, another one about, 10 past, 9, then one for the road at closing time. Well, what a great night out that was! Think I'll go throw myself under a bus now? At least maybe somebody will buy me a brandy then. I mean, doctors. How can anyone be expected to take ex-medical students seriously? Especially on the subject of alcohol. It's all very well for doctors now, isn't it? Sitting there behind their desks, looking all wise and important in their white coats and stethoscopes. It's not that long ago they were being pushed around shopping precincts in trolleys for charity, singing rugby songs and wearing some Trinians costumes with the bras on the outside. I honestly cannot think of any social group less well qualified to pontificate about the dangers of alcohol abuse than doctors. In my experience, all doctors are piss artists. Why do doctors drink so much? Well, I suppose it gives them something to do while they're smoking. And while we're on the subject of professions, I don't think I'm giving away any state secrets if I say that journalists like a drop or two as well. I found this interview in The Guardian with the famous journalist Keith Waterhouse, in which he says, "I drink copiously, certainly, but I am not a pisshead." Such dignity, don't you think? He then goes on to say, "I have never missed a deadline through drink. I never have a hangover." Oh no, Keith? How do you manage that then? "I work very hard in the mornings." That's all right then. "I will then go out for lunch or have a couple of glasses of champagne. I will then sip wine, not swigging it," no one's accused him of swigging it, "all afternoon. Around about 6 o'clock, I have a couple of zonkers." A zonker being a large vodka martini. "I will then sip wine, not swigging." He's very paranoid about the swigging, isn't he? "For the rest of the evening. I regard myself as practically teetotal." Who else but a journalist would try and convince you that they weren't a heavy drinker by cataloguing the fact that each day they drink enough to kill a small horse? Well, a pub landlord, perhaps. Publicans like a drink or two as well, don't they? You ask any pub landlord why he does it, he'll say, "Oh, I'd always dreamed of running my own pub." Had you? Why's that then? Always fancied working 7 days a week, had you? Unsocial hours? Dealing with drunks? Stopping fights? Having your rent increased by 300% by the brewery without any warning? Cleaning up sick? Ah, come on. It's a terrible job. The only reason they do it is because, like doctors and journalists, they like the idea of a job where they can be drunk all the time. And they're not the only ones. Actors, comedians, musicians, poets, novelists, artists, students, complete piss-pots, all of them. Why should this be? Stress? Pressure? Artistic temperament? No. It's because they don't have to get up and go to work in the mornings. Your fourth option is food. I realise that this may come as a shock to any serious drinkers watching tonight, but eating food is good for you, especially if you can think on and eat the food before going out drinking. Although food is also very useful the morning after, as a restorative. Winston Churchill's favourite hangover cure was a brace of cold snipe and a pint of port. He's dead then.